between 2019 and now, I'm up like 120.
You came up 120 in 6 years?
Uh, Welcome to Care to Elaborate Season 2. We're recording from our new studio. We're so excited to be here with you. We're going to talk today about self-awareness and all that means. But before we get there, as we always do, I have to check in on Taylor. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We in
Yeah.
our new studio, y'all.
Yeah.
Half these folks don't even got no. But anyway, this is not being filmed from the place in New York where everybody be going. This is being filmed from our very own studio. Shout out to Travarus for setting up the studio. Looks great. He and his tech bag. It's stuff over here that I don't even know where he got it from. But grateful to you, Travarus.
Thank you.
So I am doing well because I am excited. I got my cue. Look at that.
Yeah,
we
are official.
We got cue. I'm smearing all the ink on the back, but we got cue cards.
We are official.
We're ready.
Once again, I want to thank y'all for all the support from season 1 and continuing to give us the momentum to continue to keep going. And to reiterate, the podcast that we are having now, the Care to Elaborate podcast, is a conversation between millennials and Gen Z in the workplace. And we want to also bring different topics outside of the workplace into these conversations because it helps you to be better in the workplace. But self-awareness is something we want to tap into. So Taylor, before we start, how do you think you would define self-awareness?
This is a great question, and I love this question because I have heard that I am very self-aware.
You are.
Oh, yeah.
You are.
My day is made. If Travarus tell you something, it's true. Also, my therapist told me this, which confirmed it. I was like, I feel great. She said, that's your problem. You're self-aware, but you don't do anything. But anyway,
that's a bar.
We'll get into that in a second. But to me, self-awareness is when you are cognizant enough to understand how what you're doing not only impacts yourself, but impacts other people. Because I think some people can be self-aware in the regard of, oh, I know how this will affect me, but they lack self-awareness in how their own actions will affect someone else. And I think that's a very specific part of self-awareness, but you need both in order to have that balance. Because it's no good if you understand, how you're doing affects you, but you don't be worrying about how it affects other people.
Right. Because the benefit of self-awareness, I believe, is to enrich your relationships with others.
Right. Exactly. That's the word.
You have to enrich the relationship with others because if I know something about myself, if I know that I'm a procrastinator,
right.
First and foremost, understanding that you procrastinate is a level of self-awareness, right? That allows you to say, let me start earlier than I'm supposed to give myself a buffer space. Because if you have other people who are involved in, say, project or things like that, your procrastination affects them.
Exactly.
Right? And it could be how you are in relationships. So to me, self-awareness is the way that you impact others and your understanding of who you are and how that could piss somebody off.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just don't even think about that. Yeah. And it wasn't until recent, well, no, I won't say recently. Within the past 3 years, I would say, during college, is when I realized that people are really not self-aware.
Oh no.
They really do not, excuse my French, but they do not be giving a damn about how their actions affect other people. And they just, they either don't know or they know and they don't care. And I think that's a whole nother aspect of, being self-aware, but then still doing terrible things.
Right.
That's just, you a menace. Why would you do that?
That's the difference between being ignorant and what's another word? And just
manipulative.
Ignorant or negligent.
Okay, that's
the
true.
Ignorance is sometimes people don't even know. They're not self-aware to know.
I would rather somebody be ignorant.
Me too, because it's more authentic.
Right. At least I can say okay, you just a little.
You don't even know.
Yeah, you
bless your soul.
Yeah, bless your heart.
As opposed to I know and I didn't want to do anything about it.
Right.
Those things become all right, so what kind of integrity do you have if you understand that this is something that I know about me and either I'm going to let you figure it out on your own, or I'm just not going to do anything about it, even though I know.
And I feel like I had to come to that conclusion with some things in my life. Like I had to be, willing to just. I think also one thing about self-awareness is you have to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%. That's
like
a prerequisite.
right, and I feel like I came to the point where I was very self-aware about things.
Mhm.
And I was like, maybe I shouldn't say this to this person. But at the
Mm.
end of the day, like to your point, like if you know things about yourself or if there's something going on and it's gonna affect someone else and you don't share it,
Right,
and you do that purposefully,
right.
mm-mm.
And another thing that gets into another question that I have, self-awareness at work, right?
Mhm.
If you lack self-awareness at work, it impacts your paycheck, right? But
It should.
it should. Good point, because we all have those people. We all got those people who it's like, you don't know that you're not showing up, you're not stepping up. But before work, tying the personal piece up, if you are lacking self-awareness,
Mhm.
you are crippling your own personal development.
True.
Every aspect of relationships, whether it's personal, professional, relational, you need to at least know baseline information about yourself.
Right. Oh God.
And if they
Yes.
don't, then people may begin to ask themselves, "Are you lying?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, you. It's really hard to prove your ignorance. Versus,
Right.
I think people's first mindset is like, "You're negligent. You're lying. You're gaslighting me. You've known this whole time,
And you didn't say
and you
anything.
didn't say anything."
Right.
And that's the part that makes it feel a little icky,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But getting to the self awareness at work, how do you think lack of self awareness at work plays out?
Ah, you know, I feel like when people are this again goes back to like how your actions can affect others. If you are leading a team and you lack self-awareness as into how your actions are affecting those who you are leading, that is gonna become a problem, and it's
Absolutely,
it's so unfortunate, but it's really to the point because if you are not aware of that, and if people are too afraid to tell you,
because of the power dynamics, perhaps.
yeah,
Yes,
then
yes,
it's
yes.
like low key the blind leading the blind, like, there's no like, how can I be great as an individual contributor if the person who is leading me is not aware?
I
And I don't
personally think I don't want to cut you off.
no, you good.
I personally think being a manager and a leader is such a grand responsibility,
It's a big one.
right? And if you are a manager out there and you understand this analogy, some folks feel like as a manager, you're like a parent.
I mean, that's literally what it is.
And the self awareness is required to be a good manager.
Right.
Unequivocally, you have to know your blind spots, what are your pet peeves, all those
Mhm.
things, because
What
you
are
have
you good at? What should you maybe dictate to give to someone else?
what should you delegate.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I say it's
Delegate. Yeah,
pre.
not dictate. Yeah, you
No,
know.
it's the same thing. Some some people. So we got some dictators, but go ahead.
But no, I think it's that, and I'm let me preface and say I'm speaking about this, blankly. I ain't
Mhm.
just all right. But anyway, I just think that if someone just lacks that awareness, and it's just going to affect the team that they're leading.
100%.
And that can be negatively. And if you are aware and you do what you need to do to work on that, or you have good traits and you're aware of that, and you use those traits to help mentor people,
Yes.
guide them, that can be a good thing. I just think that should be one of the, as you mentioned, the prerequisites is you have to be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your shortcomings in order to be able to lead other people. I think that's important.
And speaking of the managers, let's talk about the people who are not aware of. They lack self awareness to the point where they complain about things that they do to other people. So
Yes.
imagine I'm late all the
I know what
time.
you yes.
I'm always late, but I complain about late people.
That's just hypocritical.
But also going back to your point as a manager, if folks are in the space where they don't know when to delegate, they don't know basic things that we think is required to be a manager, and they are complaining about
Mm,
their direct report having that same thing, and it's just like, bro,
you can't
you don't see,
yeah,
right?
at that point, that's when I'm like, "Do I even wanna work with you?" 'Cause it gets to the point where I cannot work together in a fashion that's gonna be productive because now I'm just annoyed.
100%,
And
a
I'm
hundred
like I'm
percent.
like, "You don't" that's one thing, like, being hypocritical in some aspects, I'm like, "Okay, maybe you don't know."
Right.
But if you are consistently hypocritical, Again,
Your track record precedes
we
you.
need some self-awareness.
Yeah.
We got to work on that. Okay, now I have a question that kind of like counters that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like corporate is a game in a
Of
way.
course. Yeah.
So some people may act like they are not self-aware in order. You feel what I'm saying? Some
Yeah.
people may act a little, they be knowing what be going on, but they be like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
And I feel like that line is one that is often crossed. Some people,
Yeah.
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 But in your instance, how does one balance like being authentic at
Yeah.
work while also playing like that corporate game?
Oh, this is a good question because it's so layered. I feel like the first thing you have to do is analyze how authentic do you want to be?
Mm,
Meaning, now, this might be controversial. You can't be authentic if you're not good at your job.
wait.
If you're not good at your job, nobody cares about how real you're keeping it. Bro, you are not even good at your job.
That's valid. I never thought about.
You gotta have skin in the game. You gotta be able to. People have to be able to look at you like, he right, because of his track record or because of her
True.
track record, right? So your
Mm,
authenticity needs to be coupled with good work,
mm.
right? So your authenticity
That's
has to be
hard.
coupled with good work.
Okay.
Now, taking it a step further, in the event that you do good work, you want to speak truth to power, right? You need to verify that people gonna ride with you.
That's true because people will be like, yeah, yeah, go, go. It's like
Go
like
ahead.
it's like when you ask your auntie if you can sleep over, and
Mhm.
your cousins be like, yeah, you do it. But then they don't come with you, and you
Right,
just looking stupid
because
if
they
they
know
say no.
they know their mom in a bad mood.
Exactly. They be like, yeah, you go, you tell her, you ask. Like you supposed to? Can
Like,
you
no,
at least
help me
say
out.
no in a group?
Help me out.
Yeah,
And we both want this.
exactly. But you
So,
gonna make me go.
and when you in coalition at lunch or on the commute back home or whatever, and y'all are talking about like, yeah, I mean, I just don't like the way. And because I have cachet with the manager, I feel like, oh, I can speak on behalf of the team in a safe space. But if your team ain't riding with you, then
Wait.
you left hung out to dry.
I need you to speak on because I feel like you used to do this.
Oh
You
yeah,
still
for
do
sure.
do it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
One thing about Travaris is he will go and be like, excuse me, actually, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he not afraid to do it either.
And even if it's not my issue,
Yeah, you will. And I ain't never seen anyone do it like, and you
because
do it really well.
I tried. Thank
Like,
you.
think nobody can clock your tea. Like,
Right.
it's really
Because it has to be coupled with good work,
right.
right? But to answer that question, my way of doing of like taking care of the people,
Mm.
right?
Is he Robin Hood, y'all?
No, no. But trying to ensure that people have their seat at the table, because for folks like you who are coming into the workspace and you are observing, but if you have a genuine problem that hasn't been solved, I don't mind asking that question for you, because I don't want you to feel at risk, right?
True.
Or let's talk about, it's like your work besties who,
Shout out to my work
right,
besties. You know who you are.
who may not have the ability to speak or the language. If I trust them, then I ride for them in a way where I ask the question they want to ask that makes sense, because I may want to know the answer too.
Mm.
What also isn't spoken about is how your coworkers ask dumbass questions in private, and I'll answer them like, bro, this is the reason why we can't do this. Some questions don't need to go up the chain.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Some
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
don't need to go up the chain. But I feel like, I can't say it's an OG. Not everybody's OG, but for people that I care about, I feel a responsibility to ensure that the runway is clear
Yeah.
for you to do good work. If you have questions about why this person had this opportunity, why this person has that opportunity, oh, this my manager's coming down hard on me. I'm talking a lot, but I have an example, quick example of uh one coworker that I'm cool with. She was upset about not getting promoted. And the lack of promotion was not due to anything that she did.
Mm.
The lack of promotion was due to the fact that the cycle didn't, people were ahead of her and the organization didn't give her manager enough people to promote. They didn't,
Ah, okay,
right?
I see.
You don't have, we're not going to grant you any promotions this cycle,
Yeah, it's like the
because
head count. Like you just don't
it's
have
just
enough.
because the other HR org
Right.
is really
The
put,
funds could not be allocated.
and she was tight because she did the good work,
Mm,
but she wasn't able to have that shine.
yeah,
I was able to talk to her about like, your manager actually fucks with you heavy,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Your manager can't say what I'm about to say because she can't guarantee you anything, but your manager wanted to put you up, but she couldn't. So
yeah.
she had to tiptoe around the language to tell you because she know that you're upset, but she put you up. And it wasn't you did not get promoted because of you didn't do good work.
Right.
You didn't get promoted because of
They
the
literally,
politics.
yeah, and they don't have to, yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
that's that's kind of what it is. So I feel like it's my duty to decode those things for people that I care about.
Mm. Okay, so you kind of, I wouldn't say you Robin Hood, but you like the translator.
I try to be
Yeah, like,
because I mean maybe you can do, let me ask you this question.
mhm.
Do you feel that you embody the OG you wanted?
Do I feel like I embody the OG I wanted? I would say yes.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I would
and
say that and a little more.
and you can your legacy status probably lives on LinkedIn,
Yes.
right? Where there are people coming to you that aspire to be where you are. And speaking of self-awareness, you're not going to sell them wolf tickets and you're not going to sit there and lie to them
Oh,
about
no, I be telling them the truth.
right, right.
Yeah, I
Because
ain't gonna shut up and cap.
I remember one day I was on a podcast as a guest and somebody was like, so and so company executive. I was like, bro, I am not an executive. Like
Yeah, like,
I am far from that. But from me being on their platform, they viewed me as such like I'm like, bro, I am regular.
yeah, I be telling people that too. They be, I don't know if people think there's some type of
I
like
don't know.
secret sauce or something that I have going on, which I mean maybe it is a little sweet, maybe it's a little extra
It's a little
sprinkle.
something.
I would say a little razzle dazzle, but to your point, I think people have to realize, everyone is just a regular Beyonce, a regular person.
She is.
Beyonce just got crazy mad skill sets that she honed.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, but that also it just speaks to the self-awareness. Like humility and self-awareness
Ooh,
are
ooh,
cousins, right? Let
yes.
me ask you this because like as somebody who was very lit on LinkedIn,
Mm,
how do you stay grounded? Because this can relate to the workplace when you get a little bit of accolades,
right.
right? So how do you stay grounded with the growing amount of praise that you get?
I stay grounded because while there while there may be 40,000 eyeballs and how many millions of impressions,
Talk about
I
it.
don't I don't know. I feel like I know that maybe I'm like disassociating or something.
Mm.
Like I know that that's me, but I'm like, damn, is that really me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
my mind does not like when people come up to me and they're like, oh my god, like that, and it'd be like so like people be getting nervous to talk to me.
She got fans.
I'm like,
She got fans.
I don't have no fans. I be like, I'm like, what are you nervous for? I'm like, I'm a 23-year-old girl.
Yeah,
Like I'm just a girl.
right,
Um, and I think that mentality as in like I am just a person and I'm just trying to get to the next
right,
place like everyone else,
right,
it keeps me grounded because I'm like, y'all, I'm literally only sharing the little things that I know.
right.
Because again, this will be my second year working full time.
Damn.
And there's still so much that I don't know.
Yeah,
And so when people come up to me and like say stuff, what keeps me grounded is the fact that I know I have room to grow.
yeah,
Like this is not my, final stop. Like this is not, I'm not at the epitome of my growth.
right.
And because I know that, I'm like, okay, like I appreciate everyone's support from the bottom of my heart.
Mhm.
But like this is like level 2. I gotta go
Right,
to level 100.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. I get that. That's self-awareness.
Yeah.
Understanding that you're not feeling yourself. You're aware of your powers,
Right.
but you're not overdoing it.
No, because at the end of the day, there is someone else who probably knows just as much, if not more than me, but they're just not putting themselves out there.
That's that humility. Oh, that's a bar because yeah, it takes courage to even decide to embark on a journey where you want to help people or let people in.
Mhm.
And I think that's often missed with the smoke and mirrors. Like
Right.
if you decided to provide internship, well, to highlight internships that exist, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart.
Mhm.
And then momentum builds
Yeah.
and you continue to do it the same way you did it when nobody was watching.
And that's a part of the self-awareness too. Like
Yeah.
my whole thing is that I am aware of myself to where I know like people are watching,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I know that at the end of the day, my core value is, to help other
Yeah.
people
Yep.
without asking for anything in return.
Yep.
And so because I'm aware of that value and it's something that I stick to,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how many followers or how much, clout or whatever it because at the end of the day, the goal is to help other people.
And you're sticking to the script,
Yeah.
right? Having a plan and having a understanding of what am I here for, which goes back to self-awareness as well. What are you contributing to the community that you're looking to serve?
Mm.
Some of us don't have much to contribute, so you are an observer,
Right.
right?
And that's okay
And that's
because you
fine.
can learn.
You can
And
you're
then you
there
can
to learn.
contribute later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that self-awareness, and even at work, bringing it to a work context, for you coming into your second year,
Mhm.
you are in a position where you don't have a whole lot of professional in the building experience to give
Right.
someone who's older than you, right?
Yeah, they be asking me for stuff. I'm like, baby, I can't tell you.
But you do have enough from your own experience. You can tell them, here's what I do know,
Yeah.
right? And
That's all what that's how I always frame it.
yeah,
I don't know everything, but I can tell you what I do know.
right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I hope that's enough.
I mean, it should be enough.
I I hope.
If they're asking you for something and you're giving them anything, then it should be enough based on the fact that they came to you. You didn't volunteer this
True.
information,
It's true. Valid.
right?
Valid.
And
It's
only those who are not self-aware will be able to say, I wanted more. Why didn't you ask for more then?
that's a word. People don't be self-aware.
No,
That's
they should have just asked for more.
okay. So let's talk. We're talking about self-awareness. That's what
Mhm.
this episode is about. So hope y'all are learning something. And also this should be a moment for people to be retrospective. So if you
Absolutely.
are listening to this and you like, dog,
Mhm.
I
Am
feel a
I?
little hit. I'm a hit dog, don't holler. So take the moment to be like, I may need to do some work. And
Right.
that's okay because we all have work to do.
Absolutely.
Like even us being super self-aware, there are probably a couple things where we could still do the work.
But that's the thing. Learning, you always learn more about yourself.
And you change over
You
time.
ebb and flow, like
You
you
evolve.
evolve.
Yeah, and I think that's a we should talk about that.
Yeah.
So how keep that self-awareness of yourself while
Mhm.
parts of you are changing. You speak on this because I
Yeah.
feel like you've had many.
I have
Travarus went from being a player to a dad,
a dad quick.
and a husband. I walked in Travarus' house. I said, "Dog, dude, he really a father?"
Yo,
I'm like, well, what's
for
going
real.
on?
No, it's real.
Yeah,
It's
we can see
real.
it in real life.
It's
I'm like, wow, he really get out the car and had a whole child with him.
uh-huh.
Wow.
I'm a whole dad and I love it.
Ugh. Your back
So
hurt? Sorry.
no, not yet. Um,
I do.
but here's what I'll start with.
Okay.
Be mindful of the stories you tell yourself about yourself.
Ooh, you selling my therapist.
Because
Ooh.
when you mentioned a couple labels, right? If I decided in my 20s that I was gonna be a player, right? Then that wasn't the phase that I was in. That was who I was. Imma stay there.
Mm.
So when love comes
Ooh,
around,
that's a bar.
when lo
Wait, repeat that again. Start over.
so if I in my 20s decided I was gonna be a player and I didn't look at it as a phase, I looked at it as who I was, I would be stuck there.
Mm.
That's my label. That's my
Y'all
storefront.
to all of y'all men who still playing around at 50, let's listen.
You don't wanna be a storefront of what your past trauma has allowed you to become.
Mm.
You don't wanna do that.
We're gonna make this to a clip though.
But I allow myself to evolve, right? And to
Mm.
go between phases. Wherever I am, I'm not gonna be forever. I won't be here forever,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I had a Capital Alpha Psi New Jersey phase that some people live in for the rest of their lives,
Ooh,
right?
briefly, if you are Greek and you crossed 30 years ago, yes, still rep your stuff, but baby, leave them undergrads alone. That was your time is over.
It's a wrap, dog.
Let's maybe even if you graduated 5 years ago, leave them undergrads alone.
Leave them alone.
Oh.
I moved to California for 8 years. There, I was unknown. I
Mhm.
didn't have a label. And then when people met me as, I decided not to mention that I was a Kappa, not to mention that I played basketball because that's what I was known for in Jersey.
You
So
rebranded yourself.
I allowed myself to grow and
Mm,
become whatever that was.
right.
I went out there for education and I became a tech professional. I never got rooted and stuck into these places. And now I met my wife out there and we came back and now we have a daughter. I am now a husband. I am now a father. Now, those are things that I could put on my storefront.
Right.
I want those to be forever, right?
Mhm.
But even within that store, there'll be new products, new things,
Right.
new. So I would think that when it comes to evolution, you have to allow yourself space to grow and be careful of the stories you tell yourself about yourself.
Mm. I'm gonna have to sit with that
Yeah.
because that was good.
Thank you.
Because I feel like I tell myself stories about myself, and they're not good stories.
Mm.
And then everybody be like, "Why do you say that about yourself?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Probably because, as you mentioned, those past traumas,
Yeah, yeah.
how you let them like seep in, and even if you do evolve, like there are still little
Yes.
pieces of them sprinkled in there, and you gotta let that go.
But that's what imposter syndrome is, which is why I
Mm,
reject it. It's your darkest moments picking be spearheading, or your darkest moments being like, "Yo, I'm here."
yeah,
And it's like, "No, no, no, no. I'm here.
right.
You don't exist."
You
Like,
back there,
you
hun.
are like, but it's that trauma that you carry with you from place to place that
Mm,
may rear its head, and you can't allow yourself to be bogged down by that. Another quick example is if we tell ourselves we're introverts
yeah.
or we say we're extroverts. I am very much guilty of this. My wife never knows the introverted me. I think that I'm this young kid still, that I'm a little shy to speak.
Mm,
I'm not that person anymore. My wife don't know that person.
yeah, you not an introvert.
And you might be in the same boat. You're like, "I can't see you being an introvert," but at
No.
my core, I am, but y'all don't see that. So I gotta be self-aware enough to understand that I'm not giving that.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you told me I don't give introvert.
No, you don't. I think
Mm,
you what you exude is professional.
that's what you leave a comment down below.
You
Leave
do.
do I?
Yes, yeah,
Do
because
you not be hearing me talk?
yeah, but you're mature.
Okay, now that doesn't mean professional. You can be mature and not professional.
Maturity from what I know you as on a personal level, but your whole brand is helping people get jobs. And when
Yeah.
you're on platforms, you're not speaking like you with your homegirls. You're showing up in a mature
Well,
fashion,
I feel like I speak like how I speak, but like
but your brand is
mm,
professional and mature.
okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I be on there talking about some play 2 chains in my on my
Everybody needs to listen to some music though. You know
I
what I
do be
mean?
I be like, "What did I be saying the crazy stuff in my post sometimes. It's like how I talk, but if you think it's professional, then I love
I
that.
think so, but because now we're getting to the Gen Z millennial of it all, your generation has ushered in authenticity to look however you decide,
That's a bar, and we
right?
do.
And those who do it right will always be able to have those moments where you continue to be yourself,
Mm,
right? Like our culture at work, you don't have to wear a suit and tie every day to be professional,
thank God.
right? But some of us decide to be a little bit more buttoned up on days, and some days you decide to be dressed down. But what remains the same is the work that you do.
Right.
Right? So, whereas other places, the way that you look solely determines how they view
How
you. Where for us, we had the luxury of my man got flip flops today. I got some hard bottoms, but I do good work.
right,
So
and
you
we're
gonna
gonna get into that on
we
the next episode,
we
some
absolutely are going to
upcoming
talk about all
episodes. We're
that.
gonna talk about the difference between, how you look and how that can
Yeah,
play into your
but
role.
yeah, so that's how I feel.
Okay. So you hit on something about how because you have been self-aware, you've been able to grow in your profession.
Yeah,
And you've been able to actually leave some jobs for better jobs because
mhm.
you were aware at the point like I
Trying to
am
level up.
right, I'm
Mhm.
doing so well that it is time for me to go to the next place.
Yep.
So, at what point should one decide to like boss up and say I'm going to maybe address the problems that I have at work
Ooh.
versus like I need to move on to the next opportunity. And I definitely want to hear your answer here because child, yeah, I need to hear this answer.
This is self-awareness.
So,
This is self-awareness in practice right now.
mm,
Right now, I am not my best right now.
me neither. Child, the world, who Lord,
I am
can
not
somebody call the savior.
I am not my best.
Mm.
Meaning I'm not operating at like 100% efficiency. I'm not producing the best work I have of my career. And I would go as far as to say I'm not as inspired right
It's hard to be
now.
inspired right now.
It,
It's really hard to be inspired. If people are still inspired right now, I'm proud of them
what?
because I
You
can't even.
impenetrable. Like
Oh my lord.
you are going crazy.
Yeah, either they going crazy or they mm, anyway,
Yeah, or going crazy.
or they're literally
Insane.
yeah.
Um so in terms of I'll give you both. and I want to hear your response too.
Mhm.
When it's time to boss up and when it's time to fall back.
Mm.
Bossing up, you have reached a plateau. You have reached a space where like everything is turned into gold, right? If you are a sports fan or a basketball fan, it's like when you're in the zone, right? You just
You love these sports
I love them.
references.
But whenever everything just feels like harmonious and good, and they're in the next level, either politics are allowing you to supersede that, or the folks above you don't want to work with. It might be time for you to leave the company and
Mm.
explore other opportunities. Or if you are mentoring 3 or 4 people at your job and they come to you with all their questions, it might be time to discover to figure out what managerial responsibilities look like.
Mm.
On the flip side, this is more or less where I am. If some of the politics of the environment feels you can't explain it,
Yeah, a little
it's
iffy.
it feels a little iffy and your job is intact, but your progression is a bit in question.
Mhm.
Some people will leave, but this period of my life and
Mhm.
my fatherhood, husbandry,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit and figure it out. I'm gonna dig a little deeper,
Right.
but I'm not leaving. I don't wanna leave right now
Right.
because
Security is
whereas before being a husband, before being a father, I would bounce. I would be
mm.
actively trying to figure out a way to leave because my pride is hurt, and I'm like, "Y'all don't deserve me. You don't deserve what I'm about to provide for you."
Mm.
Whereas this version of me is like, "You know what? If they want 60% instead of 110%, I'll do that,
I'll give you some.
and I'll give you way more than you expected, but I had my velocity is way higher." But how do you feel in terms of when you imagine it's time to boss up before that?
I feel like, ugh, this is a hard one because I this is one where I have to think hard because I'm
Mm,
one of those people because I am so anxious,
yeah.
my brain does not like the idea of too much change, and, like,
Mm,
having to go from job to job is a big
it
change.
is.
But for real, when I think about it, it's like kind of how you explained 1 or 2 ways. I feel like when you know that you can feel happy and, like, do good work in a space again,
Yeah.
despite having maybe some things occur, I feel like that's when it's time to boss up. Like,
Mm,
if you can still see yourself in that space long term despite maybe what you have endured, then now it's time for you to boss up because you done
right.
been through the BS, you have survived it, you've come out
Mhm.
stronger, you've most likely gained some really good skills,
Right.
and you can use those skills, to go up another level.
Mhm.
I feel like when it gets to a point where you've been through so much and you are questioning what could potentially or possibly happen next in
Mm.
more of a negative way, then
Yeah.
it's time to go.
Yeah.
Or if you get to the point where it's just like truly a drag to show up because you have truly like everything has been sucked out of you at this place,
That's
you
yeah.
can't like you cannot boss up if you are like depleted.
Mhm.
And I think that's also when you know that it's time to go.
Yeah, that's a good point. That I didn't even touch on, like, the angst of not enjoying
Ooh,
your job
it's
anymore,
child.
and what does that mean? Because fortunately, we are in spaces where we're pampered.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when we don't like something, it's very minimal,
Right.
right? And even the type of bad managers that we have, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. But there are people out there who aspire to be where we are and understand that their job day to day now, they hate it.
8.
And this is license to explore other opportunities. Don't feel bogged down by what you can't see right now.
Mm.
What you can't imagine, it can always be better, right?
True.
And getting back to self awareness, be self aware enough to understand where you can take your career without being grandiose and thinking about going from 0 to 100. It don't work out
Mm.
that way. But be cognizant of what steps you can take to get happiness and to feel better about the situation when you wake up because I can't I've been in a position where I don't like my job,
Mm.
and that's when I've left. And thankfully, everywhere that I've gone, I've been able to take steps forward. But yeah, it's not a good feeling when you wake up and you don't like your job.
No, and it's like I think There's a difference between, like, not liking your job and also just not liking the current situation of your job.
Very different.
Um, and I feel like that's also an important thing to, define, figure out, and be, again, aware of. Because I think there are times where the current moment is just shitty,
Yep.
and maybe the long-term journey will be better, but I think also in that awareness, you have to figure out, like, how long can this be shitty for? Like, what? Because I
Yes,
feel like
man.
sometimes you can be like, "Okay, like, this may be just shitty for this moment," but then the
Right.
moment be, like, 6
Yeah,
months.
it's long. It's like,
Yeah,
all right,
and now
bro.
it's like, "Okay, bro, like, is this just a moment, or is
Yeah,
this just gonna continue to be
right.
like this?"
That's important to discover
And that's a
because
hard thing, though.
it is, because you give yourself the grace and the patience to say, you know what? I'll wait it out.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
I'll wait it out. And then that 6 months is tough. And this would also something I'll say, something that Gen Z does very well, job hop.
Mm,
Now you highlighted the fact that uh change, you're more adverse to change.
I I will do it, but Lord, it's gonna take a push.
50K?
Shit, I won't say 50. Yeah. I was gonna say 30, hell, 20, fuck. Anything is more than what I'm getting right now.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So sometimes that push,
50K, baby, I'll fly out the nest.
sometimes
You know how the mama be pushing the baby bird? She ain't gotta push me. I'm flapping. I'm flapping.
get me over there.
I'm already flying.
And but that's the type of, well, for I feel like I told you, I feel personally that your next step is going to be, if you leave the company that we at with everything that you come with.
You said 50K.
I think it's, yeah.
Baby, look,
I mean, because
if you wanna pay me extra 50K, call
between 2019 and now, what was that, 6 years ago?
me. Yeah.
I'm up like 120.
I need some water.
That might speak to the fact that I was underpaid.
The way that did y'all just see me almost choke on
But I think it's important to know that it's possible. That's 6 years ago, right?
You came up 120 in 6 years?
Uh, if you
Do
sure,
you know how much money I would make if I came up 120 in the next 6 years?
I know, but you know, first of all, let's not even act like 120 is going to be is going to pale in comparison to how much money you're going to make in 6 years. Six
Uh,
years,
let, Everyone, let's take a moment for prayer right now. Because baby, look, if I, woo, ooh, I like it.
it's
Yeah,
now, I say that with all confidence because, all right, we're not going to talk about it. There was a
yeah.
vision that I had, and understanding that I wanted to leave education. Right, I did
We
not
talked
have
about
days
this.
where I woke up and I was angsty. I just felt like I can do more. Right,
Oh, really?
I didn't feel, I enjoyed that kind of work.
Self-awareness.
Yes, I didn't feel angsty. I just felt like I need more money because I know that I can. My earning potential is higher.
That's how I feel every day. I need more money.
Yeah,
Even though I'm making good money, I need more.
give me
The
more.
cost of living is high.
It's dumb. So now, I mentioned this to you before. A little bit of self awareness, a little bit of ego allowed me to pursue the tech space with a bit more velocity because I knew that I feel like I'm smart, right? So
Travarus is smart child.
thank you. So step one, step two wasn't huge. Step one and step two was like 20K, right?
Okay, that's all I need right
But
now.
that's an industry change. So,
Okay.
right? And then something interesting happened. I don't want to, this is long, so I don't want to tell this whole story. But there was one point where companies were competing for me, but it was a contract. The
Mm,
companies were competing. That competition that I felt icky about took me another 20.
okay.
Another
So now
20.
you at 40K.
I'm up 40, but it's still one job.
How long has this been?
Oh, this is like a day. So let's say I started. I'm
What?
my last day in education. My last day, I had accepted a role at a tech company. Another company that I interviewed with called me that day and was like, "Hey, everybody likes what's going on, and we want to pay you this." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm already starting with this company." They're like, "Well, how about we give you this?" And I'm like, "Hold on now. Now this is the contract, mind you. This is not supposed to happen." So I
Yeah.
went back to company one, and I was like,
Hey, bro, look.
I didn't even want to negotiate. I was like, "Look, you're gonna give me this. I'm out of here, right? I'm just gonna go with them."
Just I buy.
And then company one was like, "Hold on," and I was like, All right."
This is the type of fight I want to be in the middle of. Look,
Company one came back big,
This like when two fine men fighting over, that's what it sound like.
And then I ain't even go back to company two. You told company two I bow out because company two took my price up, and when company one matched, I was like, bet.
I'm finna start.
So that
start
was a big
blowing
just. So let's just that was 40 right there.
So everyone, let's pause. You went up 20K and you accepted it, and then they paid you another 20K because somebody was trying to come and
Yeah,
take.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm finna start lying and telling people I got enough.
Now, what was interesting is they told me their internal conversations were like, "Are you sure that he's going to walk?" Company one was, "Are you?"
Mm.
And I didn't play games with company one. My first call to them was, "I've accepted another offer. Thank you for your service."
Oh, you
So
didn't
they didn't,
even.
no,
Oh,
so they
you
didn't know
was
I
like,
wasn't
okay,
bluffing. I came in and was like, "They're not going to beat this offer. It's a contract. They're not going to beat this offer.
yeah,
I'm just finna go over here and
yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, all right, no, we already put this work in."
Actually, we will. Okay.
Yes,
Wow.
yep. And then that was from education to tech company one, to tech company two, small bump, nothing crazy.
Okay.
Tech company two to tech company three, big bump.
Okay.
Reason why it was
Are
a
we
big
talking
bump?
bigger than 40K?
Well, no,
Because you're still in
no,
the same industry.
yeah, I'm in the same
Okay.
industry, but I would say no. It's probably about 20 something.
That's still you up 60K.
Yeah,
A
and
little bit more.
over the course of 3 years, raises and stuff got me to another, right?
Oh,
So
I gotta lock in.
what I'll say,
Mm.
what I'll say is what happened between company two and company three, and I'm at company three now,
Mm.
was I interviewed somewhere and I told them a ridiculous number, what I thought was ridiculous, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, that works.
Huh?
They didn't sniff at my ridiculous number.
So y'all, so this is what we're hearing. So be self-aware, but you can also be low-key for some things, just a little delulu.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
because being delusional can low-key help. Like if
Hell
you're self-aware of
yeah.
yourself, but you're also like, okay, I know what I'm worth, but maybe I'm worth a little bit more. That's a little delusional, but
You got to toss it out.
yeah,
And because
it's like the
I
self-confidence.
had just got a promotion,
Mm.
and they hit me up. And when I interviewed, it was like, "Well, what's your number?" And I was like, I told them this,
Shit. I'm
which
gonna say,
was probably another 20K
say
more than
some
our promotion
crazy shit.
was. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's great." So now I write the number down, and I was like, "My next role, I'm going to ask for this."
Ugh.
This is the last thing I'll say. I promise
You need to
about this.
teach.
This
You
is
need to
this
teach
is a
a
good
class.
conversation. When I got to our company, they couldn't match my grand number,
Mm.
but they gave me a signing bonus.
The signing bonus and the stock will do it.
And I was like, "You gonna give me cash instead of salary?"
Yeah, I'll take the cash,
What?
baby. Put it in the bag.
Yeah, that's it. But all that to say, you have to understand what your aim is and then
Mhm.
be let dead focused on what that thing is. It
Mhm.
sounds like a lot in 6 years. For those of us who have this kind of earning potential, it's I'm so grateful.
Shit, it sound like 120K. Shit, I did. If I look, Tavares.
I'm coaching. If y'all need something, need some help
Yeah,
with
I
this,
say he need to teach a
tap
class because
in.
120K in 6 years. I mean, that's what 20K per year.
Hmm. I got friends. I got to get my homegirl on here. She says if she's not making 15% every year, she's not doing her job. I was like,
15% what? 15% right? What you mean?
raise.
I'm finna get up. We finna end the episode right here. We just finna end the episode.
Now, I also understood that
50,
that's not my ministry. That's not now, and she been in her she been in her company for a long time, right?
15%
15%.
raise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I did talk to her like last year. She was like,
Shit, I be coming
post
with my 5%,
what?
4%,
And that's
50,
fire.
50.
I ain't even, I
They
ain't,
estimate cut. Okay, look,
I got 15%
look,
once, but it
look.
was owed to me.
Uh,
It was owed.
okay,
It was owed.
okay.
But all of this stuff to say,
Whew.
we should have just named this episode "Salary Talk"
Okay, money talks and
because
bullshit will walk, and if they ain't paying you, walk.
you got to, but just understand it is not over. Like
Mm.
I told Taylor earlier, my sister went from fashion to engineering. Right, I manage a program at our company for career switchers. You're not. You don't have to be defined by where you are today. You don't
Mm.
have to be. Going back to those stories and those labels you put on yourself, I was making 40K knowing I was worth more than that.
Self-awareness.
Yep, I just felt like I was worth more than that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
I love
And
that.
yeah,
So
so
you see how Travaris used his self-awareness in order to get 20K every year? That's crazy. But he was so self-aware of what he was giving to the company, what he was contributing, not only on like a work basis, but
right.
like culturally, because also when Travaris on your team, I feel like the team does work better
I
because
appreciate
you're
that.
like a trustworthy person. I
Yeah,
feel like people feel like they can come to you and they have that sense of like psychological safety
right,
that they may not get
right.
elsewhere, and that's like a big add to have to a team.
When they're not intimidated by me.
You are a 6 foot. You 6'3", a 6'3"
But I mean
black man.
intellectually too,
Oh,
because
that's true.
sometimes what I
Travaris
learned,
still make people they be wanting to shut up when Travaris come around.
what I
That's
found,
true.
and I want to hear your perspective on this. What I found is that when you show up as your authentic self, what ends up happening is some people can feel smaller.
Ooh,
Not by
this
anything
is
that
a
you've
word.
done. Your
Yeah,
presence,
that's called projection
yeah,
and insecurity.
your presence. So if I was an insecure person
Yeah.
and you're on my team,
Mhm.
when you talk, I don't hear Taylor talking. I hear 40,000 LinkedIn connections talking.
Mm,
I hear your I hear all your accolades talking. I don't hear you,
mm,
right? So whatever I don't get is because you got it, because you got all this other shit instead of just being good at your job,
right.
right?
Mm.
How do you deal with people who may be intimidated by you, workplace or not, and you have to share space?
I mean, my whole thing is I I be talking to them just like anyone else. Like if somebody is intimidated by me, my whole thing is I don't know what the fuck you intimidated. I'm like, like what? Um, I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody is intimidated by me
Mhm.
and I'm trying to have a genuine relationship with them, there is truly nothing I can do.
No, facts.
Because at the end of the day, that is someone's own like self insecurity and like
My
self
bad, bro.
projection onto me.
Yeah.
And I learned real early in college, like that is like someone else's self projection is not something that I can control. So if there is that, that where somebody feels intimidated or whatever, if I have tried to like, make amends with them or
Mhm.
like extend the olive branch or be nice or whatever, and that, me doing that is not met with well intentions or, somebody's not matching my energy or being reciprocal, then
I get it.
yeah, like what am I
But you
what am I
can't
doing?
also be you can't be we talked about this on another episode. You have to understand what you come with, the power that you exude. With and you have to understand why people may feel intimidated by you.
No, I don't.
You should do.
Y'all, I am 5'3",
It
little.
ain't got nothing to do with
I
stature.
may have 40, whatever the hell, child.
I'm not going to say there's a rumor at work about you.
Turn. We finna be. That's go. That you gonna have to. That's
No, no, it's no rumor. There is a understanding that when Taylor touch, when everybody knows you do good work.
who
No, I'm about to tell you,
who
everyone knows you do good work.
who is everyone?
Everybody that I talk to that knows who you are always. Oh no, she's amazing.
I need to talk to these
I
people.
mean, you talk to stakeholders, but so it doesn't take much for a good reputation to spread. Just
That's
like a
true.
just like a bad one.
That
So
ain't gonna
if I
be
work
done.
with you one time and you got the things on time,
That
you're
is true. People
solid
do. People be like, you're really good at this,
because
and
people
I'll
are
be like,
bad.
okay, maybe that's it. Cause I'm like, what are y'all talking
I
about?
answer the email.
Yeah, I'd be like, this is like, bro. I'm like, this is the easiest
Yep,
work,
yep.
and they'd be like, oh my gosh, and
Because people are bad.
maybe it's because of the way I be talking to them, or like I be on task, or I be organized. I don't know,
I
but
mean, but you being type A helps for you to continue, and you don't want to let anybody down.
yeah, that's true. I do
Those
have
two
that bad.
things alone, with your ability to get the job done, allows people to see like, oh
Maybe I'm not self-aware as self-aware as I thought.
no, I think this is the humility.
Uh,
Maybe you don't want to acknowledge how good you are,
I don't. I think my thing is it's so easy sometimes that I don't realize it's good.
or maybe you should realize that people aren't as good as you. The things that come easy to
Maybe
you,
but that
people
sounds
struggle.
rude.
It's not rude because you'll get to another level. And some things will be harder for you that come easy for other people,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Okay, let's tell it.
Like for me in my spaces right now, I've been a manager for long enough that like I don't like taking direction from my peers. But now some of my peers are leading endeavors that I'm a part of, and I have to follow their timelines, and I don't want to.
Travarus, that's you got to be a good stakeholder.
I am. I didn't tell them I don't want to, but I
But you
don't
be
want to.
you
I show up. I do
you like
what I
a
need to do.
badass little
I,
kid. Imma do it.
I
I
don't
don't
want
want to
to.
though.
But
I don't want
that's me being conditioned to making the rules. Now I have to follow
follow
them.
'em.
So sometimes I just be dragging my feet around things that I just don't feel like I want to do. But I know that I'm not supposed to. And this is no diss to my coworkers.
We love our coworkers.
Yeah, it's just a me thing. just just a me thing. Look, we talked to y'all a lot today. So
We
Taylor's
did.
gonna get us into our rapid fire, and then we're gonna wrap this
Well,
conversation.
before hold on. I have one more question to ask.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
So, you do this well, and I want you to tell the people about how you do this. This is gonna be our final question before we do our rapid fire. You be framing your concerns at work as clarifying questions.
Yeah.
Ours will be like, well, actually, I considered something, and I was wondering why we haven't thought to do blah 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 blah. It just be a clarifying question, or he'd be like, "Can you clarify why you made the decision to do?"
Hmm.
And I'd be like, "Ugh, that's good,"
Yeah.
because he'd be low key like calling people out, but without calling them out.
That's
So
beautiful.
how do you like? How do you do that strategy? Like, how do you ask these clarifying questions
Yeah.
instead of like directly like challenging some of the things that people be doing or saying? Because sometimes people be doing stuff that don't make sense.
Yeah. It's because of people's ego.
Right.
No, that's the answer.
Oh,
As a leader,
okay.
you might not want to hear criticism or
Mm,
things from people who are below you.
true.
So when I was younger, when I was earlier in my career, I literally wanted to know answers to questions. So I would ask the question that other people thought was like profound, but I would literally want to know, like, they say use your new card. I was using my new card, and I'll be
Okay.
like, is there any reason why we do it this way versus that way? And
I be asking questions like that too, because sometimes it really just don't make
it
sense.
doesn't make sense. And
Yeah.
because you have not been in this organization for a long time,
Right.
you have the ability to ask a question without people being offended.
Right.
And I didn't know until after we would have lunch, like, oh my God, thank you for asking that question. And I was like,
You know that happened. That happened multiple times on our team.
and
I told you that a couple times.
yeah, so that means you have the ingredients to do the same thing. It's revolutionary only if the people on your team don't know how to ask questions.
Really needs
So
to.
that's how it started, just really asking, and then it became a tool later when I realized, oh, I can kind of ask, I can help other people out by asking these
These
questions.
questions. Yeah.
But yeah, so it started out legit organic, and then it blossomed into something that could be used as a tool.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that. So for all the people listening, if stuff is happening in your organization and you like, what in the world? Maybe you should ask things in a way that it seems as a clarifying
yeah,
question versus a critique.
for sure,
Yes.
for
Okay.
sure.
Now let's get into the rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Travaris, define self-awareness to you. I'll say in 2 words.
Humility
Mm.
and consideration.
Oh, that's good.
I say consideration because we spoke about it earlier. Knowing that your things impact others, you're
Mhm.
considering the other people by being self-aware. Humility, I think, because I would think that if you are humble, then you have self-awareness. I
Mm.
would say. How about you? Give me 2 words to describe
I would say
self-awareness.
reflection
Okay.
and hmm. For the second one, I would say I feel like those are the same. Let me change the first one. The
Okay.
first one is introspection
Ooh.
instead of reflection.
Okay.
Introspection
All up in
and
here.
in the here.
Mhm.
And then in the second one, I would say perspective.
Okay, I like that.
Mhm.
I like that because
Yeah.
you need to be present to
Mhm.
understand and to kinda read what's on the interior.
Right.
But yeah, I
Yes.
like it.
Self-awareness, y'all.
So with that, we're back. Season 2 is in full effect. We have a lot of great guests and great topics for you all. We
Mhm.
I think we gave you more than I expected this episode.
Yeah, we was yapping, y'all. Yeah, y'all go ahead and go on a little drive and listen to this one because this was very much so a yap. But we covered some good
We
stuff.
did, we did, we
Yeah,
did.
like there was a lot of good
A
tidbits.
lot, a
And also,
lot.
y'all heard Travarus. Advocate for yourself. This man said 120 in 6 years.
I'm coaching. Y'all got look,
They
look.
say he said
I
he
mean,
coaching y'all. Now you
yeah,
gotta come with your PayPal ready. You know,
it's a little bit.
he ain't free.
It ain't free, but it's a little bit. It's a little bit. But until next time, we'll see y'all and be blessed.